Hi, everybody. We are going to talk today about selections and conditional statements. So I'm going to go ahead and create a file. I'm going to call it conditional statements. I'm going to delete all of this. And then all of these comments. And this one. And by the way, the comments, anything that starts with two forward slashes like this is called the one-line comments. So I can put anything in there. It's not part of the code. Java will basically skip that part. For example, I can put this program shows how if statements work. Now, if I have multi-line, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with this forward slash asterisk, and then I can have as many as I want. Okay, so I can put, for example, multi-line, let's say, work and different types of nested if state, for example. And then when you finish, you put asterisk forward slash. So anything between this symbol, this, so, and this is part of the comments. As you can see, they are in green. Now, after that, that's part of the code. This is not comments. It is a code. All right. So, as I said, we're going to be talking about conditional statements. So what is conditional statements about? So as the name implies, conditions, that means when usually, because so far, what we've been working with is basically just displaying statements. But sometimes, or maybe many times, the program acts only if a certain condition is met. Like, for example, if it is Monday through Friday, then I will come to school. If it is holiday or weekend, then I'm not going to come to school. That's an if statement, okay? If it's raining, we are going to play indoor. If it is not raining, then we're going to play outside. So as you can see, so a statement or a substatement will be executed and others will be ignored depending whether the statement is true or false. So let's start with the scanner so we can prompt the user to enter something. So we always start with import java util dot asterisk. And then we are going to create the scanner. Scan equals new scanner system in. And then we're going to start by asking the user to enter a grade. As an example, enter your, let's say, your final grade. So, of course, the user will enter a grade. Of course, the assumption is that the user is rational, is going to enter a number, not something else. So it's going to be grade, okay? And then we're going to put scan next int. So basically, the program will scan the answer, whatever the user types, and then we'll save it in a variable called grade. So now we're going to test the grade, whether the student is passing or failing. So we start with the keyword if. if. It should be lowercase. This is not a keyword. Look, this is not a keyword. This is not a keyword. This is not a keyword. It has to be lowercase. Remember, Java is case sensitive, which means capital letter and lowercase are two different things. So you put F, always remember, if lowercase, and then you put the parentheses. Whether you have one condition or two or three, it has to be inside the parentheses. And don't, look right here, do not put semicolon after F statements. Why? Because we usually put semicolon when the statement is complete. So for example, if I ask you, let's say if I tell my students, listen up, if you don't turn in the project by next Monday, and I just took off. So everybody was like, what is gonna do? It's gonna give us 0? Or what happened? So you are not sure what's gonna why because it's not complete. You are waiting for me to finish the statement. So that's why it's not appropriate to put semicolon. We put semicolon only when the statement is finished. Okay, so don't forget, do not put semicolon. It's a very common mistake. The problem in some situations, it's not an error. Most of the time it is. But sometimes the program may interpret the code differently than what you think. And that's going to cause unexpected results. Okay? So you may think, oh, why the program is acting this way? Not because there is an error, I'm sorry, not because, and especially when it does not show that there is an error, so the program will act differently. Because of that semicolon, it will separate that statement from the rest. So there is disconnect between, we're going to have example about them. So now I'm going to put the condition. If grade, look, higher or equal than 0. Now, whatever is inside, remember we talked about Boolean, right? This is one of the data type. We said integer, double, char, and then one of them is Boolean. So Boolean means that either true or false. That means this is like a question. Is the grade higher or equal than 0? So the answer has to be yes or no. So you can only put something that is yes or no inside the parentheses. You cannot put something like this. This is not a question. This is assigning 7 to grade. You are just saying grade is, let's say, 70. To ask the question, is the grade equal to 70? You have to put 2 equal signs. Keep that in mind. So please make sure you take note for these small details. Because sometimes people, they have this and they say, okay, why the program is not working? Because this is not a question. This is not something that's going to return true or false. It's like you are assigning 70 to grade. Okay? There is a difference between assignment and equal sign. Like in math, it means the same thing. But in computer science, there is a difference between 1 equal sign and 2. We use 2 equal sign always after if statement to test if 2 things are equal or not. If you want to say different, you're going to put exclamation mark. So this means different than 70. Then also will return either true or false. But don't put 1 equal sign, put 2. So we're going to put here higher or equal than 70. Or you can put higher than 69. Since we are talking about integer, then it has to be, if it's higher than 69, it has to be 70, 71. So here, again, do not put semicolon after F. Okay? So, and then I'm going to put brackets here, or braces. And these brackets are very important. We call them braces. So sometimes it does not make a difference, but most of the time it does make a difference. I'm going to give you an example. If grade is higher or equal than 70, I'm going to say system out print line. I'm going to say congratulations, you pass. You pass, right? That makes sense. Okay. Now, what about if the grade is not higher? There is something called else. Else means automatically this condition is false. That means basically the opposite of this. That means the grade is not. Look, else means it's not higher than. That means whatever the opposite of this, whatever this one makes it false. And then I'm going to put here system out print line. Sorry, you failed. This is simple program. So we're going to test the program and see. So I'm going to build it. Build means check for errors. So I'm going to check. That's going to say process completed, no error. And then I'm going to run the program here. So as you can see, it's going to say enter your final grade. Let me make this one bigger so you can see. So I'm going to start with a passing grade. So 84. Okay, congrats, which means if this condition is true, the program would execute the first statement and ignore whatever after else. If the condition is false, the program will ignore the first statement and execute the after else. Only one of them. It will never execute both of them. You cannot be passing and failing at the same time. You cannot be present and absent at the same time. It's like they are mutually exclusive. It cannot be raining and not raining at the same time. You cannot be, this is something that you can be inside the room and outside the room at the same time. So only one of them. So the program will execute only one and ignore the other one. Now I told you about the brackets. So let's say, for example, I want to add another statement. Okay, I'm going to put here system output implying. I'm going to say here, I'm going to show you the significance of the braces. So I'm going to put here, congratulations, you passed. I am proud of you. Okay. Now, if we have the braces, there's no problem. That's why it's always safer to put the braces. But let me run it first. So there is no problem here. You're going to see if it is passing, like 89. You're going to see congratulations. See that? Congratulations, you passed. And then you see the second one. I am proud of you. Now, let me take off the braces and see what happened. Look, I'm not going to change anything of the code. I'm just going to remove these braces. So now when I build the program, look, what does it say? Error, else without if. Basically, you are separating the if statement from the else. Why? Because when you don't put the braces, what happened is the program, which means Java, will take only the first line, this one right here, is part of the if statement by default, if there is no braces, which means that second statement, it does not belong to F, which means that's like there is a separation because F and else, they should be following each other. So when you remove the braces, this I'm proud of you, it does not belong to the F statement, and it's like separating the two parts that they are supposed to be together. So that's why you get this problem right here. Okay, so to be on the safe side, always you put the braces, because when you put the braces, you are telling the computer, the program, that these two statements are together. Okay, that means when the condition is true, I want both statements, not only the first one, because without braces, only the first one is executed. The second one is like a separate statement. And if I don't have the else, so let's say, for example, to show you like let's say I don't have else. So I'm going to remove this. Okay. If I don't have else, look right here. If I run the program, pay attention here to show you why this is. I'm going to get them close. Okay. So if I run the program, please, this is so important. Make sure. So enter your final grade. If I put 90, okay, pay attention here. Okay, it looks like it's normal. Congratulations, you passed. I'm proud of you. Now let me put a failing grade. If I put 60, what does it say? I'm proud of you. So that shows you that the second statement is not part of the F statement, because it's like it is printed no matter what. So that's something important. So all of this, the summary of all of this is use the braces to avoid all this problem. Okay? Because if you put the braces, you would never have problem like this. So now I'm going to, put this back where it was. I'm going to put Control V because I have them there. Okay, now we have no problem whatsoever. Why? Because the braces will keep them together. So if I put 90, the first two will be together. If I put a failing, only the sorry I failed will be there. 60. You see that? Sorry you failed. You're not going to see the other one. Why? Because they are together. Either they show together or they disappear together. Okay, everybody got this? Okay, so please keep in mind, even if you have one line, make it a habit that you use braces all the time. I'm proud of you. Okay, any questions about if else? Now I'm gonna add one more thing. Let's say I have, let's say people who got A, like 90 and above, the teacher or the instructor wants to give them like a special reward. So that means you already passing, but I want a special reward only for A people. So of course, the code has to be in the passing area. This is the passing area, and this is the failing area. So if I put the code, I'm not going to put it here after else, because this is the failing area. So it has to be passed. That means before we talk about A, we have to pass first. Now inside, look, inside the braces, which means you have to pass first. That's the first gate. And then I'm going to put another if statement. It's called nested if because it's one inside another one. In addition to higher than 70, let's say the grade is higher or equal than 9. So this is only for these people. So I'm going to put here, okay, you got, for example, free homework pass. That means you don't have to worry about the homework because you got A. Can you see this? So braces will make sure everything is organized. You don't have to, but by the way, the style, the coding style does not make any difference for Java. That means whether you, this is only for you because when you organize things, as you can see right here, when I organize things, I can easily understand. But Java does not care whether you put this together, organize or not. That's why the braces and semicolon, that's the only thing that Java recognize. The semicolon indicates the end of the statement, and the braces tells you like which group of statements are together, which one are not. So if the grade is at 90, okay, now let's run the program and see. So I'm gonna build it, and then I'm gonna run the program. Now let's start with the normal passing. Let's say 80. So 80, that's passing. Is it higher than 90? No. So they're not gonna get free homework pass. But still they're gonna say, congratulations, see? Congratulations, you pass, I'm proud of you. Okay, now what about people who got A? So they will still get congratulations, but they're gonna get something extra.
So there's a mistake.
I'm sorry?
The else, the nested else is not in the first if. If it's
Yeah, you don't like I'm not there yet, but
okay.
you don't have to look. Listen, that's a very good question. That's why I like people to ask questions. Why? Because if the else requires F, but F does not necessarily need else. Even if I don't put else, look, the program works fine. That's a very good question. I like this type of question. Because sometimes I may have something in mind, but if you don't ask me that question, I may either forget or I may not remember to mention that. So you said why we don't have else after this. The answer is it's not required. I'm going to add it, by the way, but it's not required. Every else requires F. You cannot have else without F. But F does not require else. You don't have to have necessarily else. You can, but it's not required. It's not going to stop your program from running. So now let's run the program. What's it here? I'm going to put 94 and then see it works fine. So it says, congratulations, you passed. Why? Because it's higher than 70. And I'm proud of you for the same reason. But the last statement, you got free homework pass because of the second, the nested F statement. So now, what does else means here? Since you talked, Larry, what is else here? What does else mean here?
The else mean there like if it's not 90, maybe it's between 70 and 89. Like
Oh, that means you are passing, but you
yeah,
did
you
not
don't have
get
the
to
A
A.
grade. You don't have that
So
then you
that's
don't have that.
basically only B and C people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. So here, because else is inside the first one, that means they are passing people. Why? Because it's inside grade higher or equal than 70, but they don't belong to A. So anybody who does not get A but still passing will be included in this else. So let's say for else, I'm gonna say here, they didn't get a homework pass, but you got, let's say, you got, a cookie, pizza or something, a pizza. You got a pizza, maybe a cookie, pizza. That's okay. Oh, okay. You got a cookie. Okay, so if you got B or C, you got a cookie. If you got higher 90, that's a free homework pass. People like you don't have to worry about the homework. So you have free homework. That's good. Now let's go to the else. So this is failing people. So anybody who failed, it doesn't really matter what grade you have. Even if you have 69, you are very close, but still you're going to see this message. But let's say we have people who are doing so bad. Let's say less than 50. So less than 50, you are not close. That means there is a real problem. So maybe we need to notify their parents or give them specific message. So I'm going to put here, if in addition, you're already failing, but failing very bad. So I'm going to put if grade is less than 50, which is 49 and less, then I'm going to say, okay, your parents will be notified. Your parents will be notified. So this is for people who did so bad. Now, what about people, they failed, but they're close. That means not less than 50, higher than 50. That means basically between 50 and 70. So I'm going to say here, else, probably they may need they just need a little help. You may need, or you need help, for example. Okay, can you see like how I started? Now look at the program, how many F. Now look, because it's organized, it's easier to understand. I know that this is F and else, this else follows this else, follows this. Not because they're aligned, but look at the braces. Look, opening, closing. See, when you select the first one, the closing will be selected automatically. That's the reason I said else. But even if you put it like this, look, the program does not care less. It still run. So the way you align your text has no impact whatsoever. But it helps you read the code correctly. So when you have this, you can easily tell that this else follows this. And then this else follows this. And then the same thing for this, else and F. So these two are of the same type. Okay, so now let me run the program just to get an idea about. So let's see. I'm gonna get, if I put, for example, 65. What do you think is gonna happen? What statement will be executed? 65. What do you think is gonna say? This is the.
You need help.
You need help. That's it.
You feel sorry you failed. You need help.
Very good. Because sorry you failed is for anybody who failed, regardless. But because you are close to 70, so you need help. Okay, good job. Now, what about if, okay, that's what you got. Sorry, you failed, you need help. Okay, so this is if else, and then also we have nested if. Nested is when you have one inside another. Now, when you have one inside the other, it's like and. It's like you are saying if grade is higher than 70 and higher than 90. Okay, it's like and. When you have one inside other, you can replace it with and. All right, so this is the first type of if else. Now, let's look at another one. Let's say, for example, that, okay, let me go right here. There is another side. What about if you have an if statement, but you have multiple options, like multiple answers? For example, what is the, enter your final grade letter? A, B. So how many we have? A, B, C, F. We have 4. So how do we use, what kind of statements we use if we have 4 outcomes? Because the first one was 2 first, passing, failing. So you put F else. And then even inside we put F else. That means within each one of them, we still have 2. Now, what about if I have 4 or 5 or 6 multiple answers? So I'm going to put here F. Now here, I'm going to put the answer as as a string. I mean, I can put it as a character. That's fine. So I'm going to put here letter grade. I'm going to call it letter grade. So since it is string, I'm going to put scan dot next line. See that? Now I'm going to start F. I'm going to put F letter grade. Now, some people may put it like this. If it is equal to A. Now, this one is wrong. Why? Because you are using string. When do we use double equal sign? If you are comparing 2 integers or 2 double or 2 characters. We use double equal sign. Now here, this is not integer, this is not double, this is not character. So for string, we use a method equals. So we put it like this. Just remember, when string, we don't use, I'm going to put it as a comment. When comparing 2 strings, use equals. Okay? Remember that. And then again, to be on the safe side, I'm going to use the braces. If equals A, I'm going to put, oh, that's excellent, right? Excellent. You got A. You got A. Okay? Now, listen here. If I put else, what does it mean? That means people who got B and C and F, you are putting them in one category. That's wrong. That's unfair. That's why I have to put else F, depending how many I have. So I'm going to keep repeating else F until I cover all the different categories. And then I add the second condition. I'm just going to copy this. I don't want to, just the same thing. I'm just going to change A to B. So else F, if it is B, again, I'm just going to copy this. So if it is B, I want to say a different statement, which is good job, for example. Good job, you got B. Okay? Now, again, I'm not going to say else, because if I put else, then C and F will be in the same category. So I'm going to put else F. And then you copy this again. And then I put if it is C. If it is C, of course, here, assuming that you're going to enter the uppercase, okay? But what about if they enter the lowercase? Maybe you have to add another condition. You put or. You're going to put like this. Okay, this is very important. Let's say I want to put B uppercase or lowercase. I cannot put this or B like that. No, I can't do that. What I need to do, basically repeat this question. Okay, let me show you how to say or. So you copy this, and then this is or, 2 vertical bar. How do we get that vertical bar? Use the shift key and backslash. And then you repeat the same question with lowercase. So this is how you put or. And then you do the same thing for the rest. Okay, that means it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. Now the same thing for C, I'm going to put this statement, and then I'm going to say, okay, you are doing okay. You may need help. So I'm going to put here, for example, you are doing okay. And then I may mention probably that you got C. Okay, you got C. Now I have only one category left because I covered all the categories, A, B, C. That means if it's not A, and if it's not B, and if it's not C, it has to be F. So that's why the last one we put else, because that's the only one. Look at else, it's like none of the above. Sometimes you have the answers that says none of the above. That means if it's not any of the option above, that's whatever is left. So else, I don't have to specify F because that's the only one left. So I'm going to put here, copy this, and then I'm going to put it here, and then put Sorry, you failed. Sorry, you got F. Try again, for example. Try again. Okay, so as you can see right here, now remember that keep in mind that when you are using F, else F, else F, else, only one of the statements will exist. You can never have more than one. That means only one of them will be applicable. If you enter, so the program starts from the top. Let's say I enter 95. So the program will check. I'm sorry, if I enter A. So if I enter A, the first condition is true because it's A. Then what's going to happen? The program will skip everything and then move on right here. That means at the end of the statement and check if there is any statement that needs to be executed. But it's not going to go through this. It will skip all of them. Now, what about if the user entered B? So the first condition is false. Now the program has to go to the second one and then find out that it is B. That's correct. It's true. So it will display good job and then skip everything else in that group and then move on to the end. It will never execute else, F, and else. It will be in order. Only one of them will take effect. If it is C, so the first one is false, it will be evaluated. Second one is false, it's in order, it's false. As long as it is false, it's going to keep going down until it finds the right answer. This is C. Okay, it will say you are doing okay, but it will not execute else. The only way is gonna, or the only time is going to check every single, if it's the last one, because it has to go through each one of them. It's gonna check A, it's gonna check B, it's gonna check C, and then has no choice but to check the last one. Last one, that means if it's none of the above, then sorry, you got F, try again. Sorry, try again is not spelled correctly. So that's how it works, okay? Because somebody, I get these questions all the time. What about if I put just this? Somebody may say that. What about if we don't have like separate F statements? And this one also, I can put F like this. Some people may think like that. They're gonna say, what about if I put this and this is F? What's wrong with this? Now, the difference between this and the one we just had is the program will check every single one of them regardless. That means the program will check it because they are separate. They're not part of the same group. So that means this part is separate from this, which means the program will evaluate the first, second, third, and the fourth. All of them will be evaluated. That means it takes more time. But if I use else F, we talked about this, only one of them in order. So if the answer, if you are lucky, and the first one is A, then the program will not evaluate B, C, and F. It will skip all of them and go to the outside, that means outside this group, and then execute whatever is left if there is any other code to be executed. See the difference? So that's why else F is more effective, more efficient, because it saves your time, okay? But sometimes, you know, if the efficiency is not an issue, then sometimes it doesn't really matter which one you use. It's up to you, but these are options for you, okay? So this is F, else, F, else, F at work. Now, I can use another example, the same thing, to show you like how, when do we use this kind? Let's say we have different activities depending which grade level or what what level of students you are. If you are freshman, then there is something for you. If you are sophomore, then you have another activity. So let's say enter your grade level, for example. Then I'm gonna put here grade level, and then I'm gonna put here if you are freshman. See, freshman. Then I'm going to say, okay, you have a guest speaker, for example, somewhere. Okay. Then if you are, I'm just going to delete this. I don't need it. I'm just showing you, like, you can use or. If you are sophomore, then I'm gonna say, okay, you have a field trip, for example. You have a field trip, okay? And then if you are, I need to fix this because now it's grade level, and then a grade level, and then grade level. So if you are a junior, then you have something else. Maybe you have a college visits, for example. Okay. And then else, you are not freshman, you are not sophomore, you are junior, you have to be senior. So maybe that's the, so senior, maybe I'm gonna say you have a graduation rehearsal or something like that. So this same, every time you have more than, you have multiple outputs, multiple outcomes, then you may think of using this F, else F, else F, and then you keep repeating else F depending how many you have. What about if you have 5 options, 6 options, or more? And then you may have else, you may not. You don't have to have else. That means you can stop at else F and you don't mention everything. But we usually end with else just to make sure that, you know, if the if none of the above, then the program has to answer something. What about if the user enter, or you can put else for like an invalid entry. You can say else, then you can say invalid entry, try again. So you can put else, you can use else just like to for data validation. That means if they enter something unexpected, they enter something now that doesn't make sense. Then you need to have something in the program that respond to that, right? Let's say I'm gonna add, okay, let's say else F here, just to show you. So this is for seniors. Now, what about if the user enters something unexpected? I want to deal with it. So I'm gonna put here, if you put this system out print line, invalid entry. Okay, try again. See? So this way, the program has an answer to everything. If you enter the right entry, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, I forgot to put senior here, so I'm going to copy this, copy, and senior. This is if you want to make sure your program covers everything. But if you are 100% sure that, you know, they're gonna use the right thing, then you don't have to. But here else, even if they enter something wrong, let's say, for example, I ask them and check if there is any error here. So if I run the program, let's say somebody wants to test the program. You know, there are some people, they want to test the program. You ask them about freshman, they say something, you know, different. They say, they enter, or maybe that sometimes they enter the wrong. Like for example, instead of entering the grade level, they enter something else, like their name, John Doe. See, invalid entry. Try again. So this way, if anything that is unexpected happen, you have an answer to it. The program can deal with it. Okay. Everybody get this? Any question? All right. Now we are going to cover another type. It's not, it looks like F statements. It acts like an F statement, but we don't call it F. We call it switch. Okay? Switch statement. I'll give you an example here. So let's say we are going to ask the user to enter 2 numbers. Enter the first, so I'm going to delete all of this and show you something else, like another tool that we can use. It acts like, I mean, it has the same purpose like F statements, but it's a little bit different. So I'm going to put here, enter the first number. So here in this program, I want to ask the user to enter 2 numbers and then ask them what they're going to do with these numbers. Are they going to calculate the sum, the difference, the multiplication, the product, or they want to divide, whatever it is. So let's say here we have number 1 equals scan.next int. And then I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to put the second number. num2. Okay, check if there is an error here. No problem. Now I'm going to use, ask the question. Enter, say, enter the operation. Okay, well, let's choose your operation. Choose your operation. And then maybe I can tell them what operation. Like, for example, I'm going to put something like this. That means 1 means addition. And then copy and then explain to them what, I mean, they can enter the name, but I want them just to choose the number, and then a number means a type of operation. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to print this. If they enter 2, that means it is subtraction. And if they enter 3, that means multiplication, right? Multiplication. And then if it, just to make it easier, we're going to just choose 4. So this is just to explain to them. 4, then division. Okay, now I'm going to use something called switch. You see it's in blue. Everything that is blue, that's a keyword, that's a reserved word. It's like a keyword that has a special meaning in Java. And then I put the parentheses, and then I'm going to put the variable that will be tested, which is, in this case, okay, I'm going to choose the operation. I'm going to put right here, choice. What I'm going to call it operation. That's scan next int. I was just here explaining, because some people may not understand what do you mean by operation. So I have to explain to them that, okay, if you put 1, so it has to be a number. 1 means addition, 2. So if I put here operation, so the program will test that. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put if the case is 1, that means if they answer 1. Case 1, case 2, case 3. That means I'm going to add. So I'm going to put system out, and I'm going to put here the sum is, and then I'm going to add them up. So make sure that I'm going to put parentheses to make sure that num1 plus num2. Okay. Now, what about case 2? Case 1? Of course, case 1 depends on operation. Remember, the operation is what operation they're going to. So 1 is addition. So second one, I'm going to just copy and paste to save time. So if it is case 2, which is subtraction, I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of adding, I'm going to subtract. So let me just copy the whole thing here, so you can save more time. So if it is case 3, again, case 3 means they choose number 3, which according to the menu is multiplication. So change this one to 3. I'm going to put here the difference, and here the products. And then, of course, multiply. Okay, make sure everything is cool. And then case 4. So case 4, I'm going to put the quotients, division. And then I'm going to divide. Now, if you remember, When you divide the number by number, integer by integer, you get only the integer. That's something we talked about last time. So I'm going to add double here to show you that one of them should be decimal at least. Double. Okay. Now let's test the program and see, because this is not the final, because there's something that needs to be fixed. But I want to show you first what we have at this point. So let's build it. Perfect. No error. Remember, after switch, you have to have these two braces. If you don't have them, then you're going to get an error because it shows the beginning and the end. Now let me run the program and see. If I want, okay, it's going to ask me the first number, let's say 12. Second number is 4. Okay, choose your operation. I'm going to choose number 4. Oh, the quotient is 3.0, which is 12 divided by 4. So far is fine. That's good. Now let's continue, because remember, when you test your program, never test it one time, because what about if you are lucky, which is most of the time the case? You are lucky and it just works for that special case and it does not work. There are many cases which it does not work. So you have to test it many times, especially positive, negative, high, when, especially when you have different categories. So you have to try different categories, the border, the number that is in between, or just try to test it as many times. The more values you test, the more like robust the program is. So let me choose, okay, the same numbers, 12 and 4. Now I want to choose number difference. So that's number 2. So pay attention to what's going to happen. It says the difference is 8, but it did not stop right there. It says the product is 48 and the quotient is 3, which means what happened is it starts from case 2 and then it did case 2. It did not stop because it's supposed to stop. That means the difference. I ask you only about the difference, but you give me the multiplication. That's why we usually add the break at the end, because this break will make sure it stops. That means get the job done. Don't move down. Just get out of the switch statement. So I'm gonna put break. So we always use break. So this way, when you try, so it will execute that statement, and I want it to exit the loop immediately. So 12, and then let's see, 7. If I want number 1, which is addition, it's going to execute addition and stop, exit the loop. Look, see, only the first one. The sum is 19, which is the case. Let me try it for the difference. It's going to execute the difference and then exit the switch statement immediately. So I'm going to put 12, 4, and then I'm going to put number 2. See, it shows only the difference, exit the loop. Now, my question before I end this, what about if I enter a number that is not 1, that is not 2, 3, and 4? Let's see. So let's say, some people, they just want to test the program, see the limits, and then they enter something like 10. Okay, let me start first one by the first number, okay? And then the second number, let's say 5. Now, choose the operation. So as you can see, the operation based on the menu is only 1, 2, 3, 4. But some people, they enter, or maybe they made a mistake. Instead of like 4, they just put 1, 4, 14. We don't have 14, so what's going to happen? So the program, because there is nothing that matches, so it will just exit. There's nothing to print. So it did not print anything. Now, in this case, we want to tell the program that that's wrong. This is not a valid statement. So there is something called default. So what we do, we add one line at the end, right here, after break, and then we put default. Can you see that? So, and then default means anything that is not mentioned. Here I'm going to put invalid entry. Try again. See? So now the program can respond to any situation. So let's now enter an invalid or number other than 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 21, and then it says 7, and then I enter 12. There's no operation 12. Say invalid entry, try again. So that's how it works, the switch statement. Any questions about the switch? So now the question that I get most of the time is which one we should use. It depends. So now sometimes, especially when you have a menu, most programmers, they use the switch statement because it's easier. It's better than just the F statement. It's like very simple. It's so if you have anything that has a menu and then you have to choose one of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D, or stuff like that. So switch statement would be appropriate. Okay. And by the way, you can use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's question we usually I get this from students. Can we use only numbers 1, 2, 3, 4? No, you can use characters with one single quote, A, B, C, D. Or you can use string, case Monday, case Tuesday, case Wednesday, case Thursday, and stuff like that. So you have 3 options. Okay? And then you can use F statement inside. It's not like if you use the switch, that's the only thing you can use. You can combine them by integrating the F statement inside switch statement. That means case 1, and then we could put within case 1, if whatever, then do this. So you can do that. All right. So that's how the F statement works. We have a few more minutes. We're gonna answer some questions just for practice. Let me see if I have a practice here just to check your understanding. I think I have. So let me check. Just like a practice, just for the last 5 minutes, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So let me find conditional statement. Let's see. All right, so let me see here. What statement we have? All right, that's a very good one. So let me stop here. And let's see. Stop sharing. Okay. Now let me share my program here, which is okay. Share. What is the Microsoft Word here? I don't see it. Or maybe here it's hidden here. Okay, I just want to show this. I cancel and then share again. Oh, right here. Sorry. All right. Can everybody see this? All right. So let's answer some questions here, just to test, just some of them. So let's say, for example, number 15. Let me see if I can magnify this even more. Okay, number 15, what would be the answer here? We have an integer number, fnum equals 4. It says if fnum is higher or equal than 12, it's 1. I just did not put system out, but but it should be system out print. And then we have print 2. What would be the answer? What do you think is the answer? Anybody can jump in. Number 15. What do you think? Yara, Larry, Dominic, can I have volunteer? It doesn't matter. Just say anything you can think, no problem. So what do you think the answer for number 50? I say thinking. Can you see like there is no braces in here? So what did we say about that? And then pay attention. Can you see like semicolon after F statement? So what happened if the F statement has a semicolon? Basically, you are separating the F statement from the rest, which means that number one will be printed no matter what. Why? Because it does not depend on the condition due to that semicolon. So the answer would be 1, 2. Why? Because the program, that condition f num higher or equal than 12, does not depend on the statement. Semicolon will terminate that statement. So it was separating the f from the statement 1. So the answer would be 1, 2, which is B. So sometimes you may not pay attention. Of course, you're not going to get questions like this in the quizzes, but I want you to, to be aware of it. Now, number 16. Now we have the braces, which means only one is part of the F statement, which means also its number 2 will always be printed because it's not dependent on any condition. So we will check 4. Is 4 higher or equal than 22? No. So 1 will not be printed, but 2 will. So the answer would be 2, which is D. Number 17. So we have two separate F statements. Each one of them is separate. So the first one, is 4 higher than 2? Yes, 1 will be printed. Is 4 less than 2? No. So only 1 will be printed. That's A. Now number 18, look at it. You may think that the second F statement is part of the first one, but that's wrong. Why? Because the indentation, that space that you have in here, it does not have any impact on Java. Maybe in Python, the indentation means something. That means that it is part of it. But in Java, only the braces can decide whether you are inside or not. So here, even though like the second statement, F statement, is indented, it's a separate. Why it does not divide? Because if you don't have the braces, only the first line, which is 1, which is print 1, is part of the first F statement. So basically here, 4 higher than 2, yes, 1 will be printed. The second F statement is a separate one. So is 4 higher than 7? No. 2 will not be printed. Now the last one, that's the third F statement, is 4 higher than 2? Yes. So now we're going to print 1 and 3, which is C. Now I want you to pay attention to number 19. Look at the braces right here. Can you see this brace right here? This one right here, that's the beginning. What is the end? Is this, which means all of this is inside the main F statement, because the braces will decide which group is. So which means if the number, I want you to imagine that JNum was, for example, number 1. So 1 is not higher than 2, the program will skip everything between the two braces. So it will print nothing. I said if number, if the value is not 4, is 2, is anything number less than 2, like 1, 0, negative. But since it is true, then the program will go inside and then one by one. It's going to print 1, check the second one. So this statement happens only because the first one is true. So you printed 1, and then is the second statement is true? No, 4 is not higher than 7. But it is less than 7, so 3 will be printed. So basically, you're going to print 1, 3, that's C. Okay? So pay attention to the braces and then to make sure. Again, here, I don't see the braces. And if there is no braces, only the first statement is part of the F statement. So here we have 1, 2, 3 separate statements. So you evaluate them separately. The first one, 9 higher than 2, yes, print 1. 9 higher than 7, yes, print 2. Less than 2, no, so it will print 1, 2, that's B. Again, number 21, can you see the braces right here? So this decide which group is part of the if statement. So now we know that this part right here that I'm going to highlight is part of that statement. It's inside. That means if that condition mnum higher or equal than 2, if it happens to be false, then the program will skip 1, 2, 3 statement that is highlighted. It will be skipped. And then it's going to move on to whatever is left over. So since the condition is true, then you will print 1, and then you test the second if statement, which is false. So you printed only 1. And then you're going to move to the last statement, which happens to be false, because 4 is not less than 2. So basically, you printed only 1, which is D. Number 22, again, we have the braces. So that tells me that this. So don't look at the indentation. Look at whether there are braces or not. Is it part of the, is it nested F or a separate statement? So this one is nested F. 4 is higher than 2, but 4 is not higher than 7. So the first part will not be printed. Then again, look right here. Only this is part. Look, only this is select right. So here you have O num less than 2 is 3. But number 4, the statement for number 4 is a separate statement. It does not depend because of the absence of braces. Only number 3, print 3, is part of that condition, which is O num less than 2. So now we know that the first one did not print anything. Now is O num, which is 4, less than 2? No. Now number 4 will be printed no matter what. That's the only one that is printed. So it's D. So this comes with practice. When you practice, the more you practice, so the more you get. Now here, can you see like the F statements is right? There's nothing in between. So when you have F statements one after the other, you have this one, and then you have there is nothing in between. So the same thing as it's like and. It's like you are saying if P num is higher or equal than 2 and higher or equal than 7, print 2. So are these two conditions true? Well, I know 9 is higher than 2 and higher than 7, so 2 will be printed. Now this if statement is a separate one. It's not part of the first one, it's separate. Is 9 less than 2? No, but 4, print 4 is a separate statement. So now we're going to print 2, 4, and that's A. Now number 24, we're almost there. So number 24, again, when you see F statement one after the other with nothing in between to separate them, so this is nested F. They are together, and then you can replace. It's like you are saying and. If G, or I'm sorry, Q, if Q num is higher or equal than 2, and it's very similar than and. So are these two true? 9 is higher than 2, higher than 7. Yes, so you print 2. And the last F statement is false, so 3 will not be printed. Only 2, that's A. Now again, look at 25. Look at the braces right here. Can you see this braces right here? This is the beginning, and this is the end. And then here they're trying to mislead you, because look, this one right here is inside, indented. This one is not. So you may think that this is part of this, but this one is not. But the truth is both of them, regardless. Why? Because look at the braces. I have the braces here opening, and I have the closing here. That means anything inside, look right here, all of this is inside the braces, which means they are part of the first statement. They're inside. So which means if the condition is true, which is the case, 5 is higher or equal than 2, then I have no choice but to execute the statement inside. Is 5 higher than 7? No. Is it higher than 2? Yes. So 3 will be printed. And then the same thing for this rest, the rest of the question. So let's go over this one. So number 26, again, so these two are together. Why? Because one after the other with nothing in between. The first three statements, are together. Now, the z is less than 95 is a separate one. And then also the last one is a separate one. Now, for the first two, they are together. So they have both to be true for DEF to be printed. Is x higher than 90? Yes. Is z higher than 95? No. So DEF will not be printed. Now, what about z? Is z less than 95? Yes. XYZ will be printed. So we know XYZ will be. Now, what about x? Is it less than 90? No. GHI will not be printed. But fun has nothing. It does not depend on any statement. So fun will be printed no matter what. So the answer would be XYZ fun, which is C. Okay? Now 27, we're going to end with 27 because the other one, the rest is the same. So what do you think? The first one, we have two F's right after the other. So this is the same as N. Is A higher than 90? Yes. Is B higher than 80? Yes. So DEF definitely will be printed. Now this B is less than 80, that's a separate statement. That's not true, so XYZ will not be printed. Now what about A? Is it less than 90? No, GHI will not be printed. And again, fun is a separate statement, does not depend on F, it will be printed. So we end up printing DEF fun, which is D. So the rest of the question is the same thing. Once you understand the concept of F and nested F and also the significance of the braces, then you should have no problem with that. Okay? Any questions? So please take time. I'm recording this video. I'm gonna post it probably tomorrow because it takes time to, to put it together. And then so tomorrow it should be up and running. So please take time, one more time, to go over it, to make sense of it. Also, there are some videos that I recorded myself, like personally, and then basically I broke them down. So every video is 5 minutes, 3 minutes, depending which areas. I put like the F statement to go, F else as one video, F else F as a separate video, nested F as a separate. So this way, you just pick the video that you feel can, deals with the problem or deals with the concept that you have issues with. So it doesn't take you too much time. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for your time and have a good night.